Now what we'll do next is, same with the eyes, we'll pop a little bit of reflected light on top of the nose. You'll notice on the photograph it's quite shiny, and again, bearing in mind the light is coming from the top right, so it's going to hit the top right of the nose. Very, very softly dab a few little white highlights on the top there, and a little bit of highlight at the bottom of the nostril. And there we have it. Now we come to the final stage of the painting, and arguably one of the most important parts of the painting, which is to establish some contrast. So again, we'll take our black, and what we need to do is deepen some of the shadow areas in the painting. At the moment it's looking quite flat, and just by carefully cutting into the lighter parts, which are the hairs inside the ear, and going a little bit around the edge. One thing you should never be afraid of is using nice, bold, vivid colours in your underpainting. Of course, they will always get toned down at this stage. The more layers you add on to them, the more they get toned down. So again, we can cut out more sharply the edges of the fur around the head. And there's some dark shadows in the base of the ear, a few dark hairs on top of the ear itself there. And then we'll go around, maybe pop a few little dark hairs on the top of the head. And then we'll come back to this ear again. This side is in shadow, so using the black will help to deepen that shadow. As I said, the contrast stage really is important. It takes your painting from being almost washy, flat, toneless painting into something that's more vibrant, more realistic. You don't have to do too much rubbing at this stage, but a little bit here and there will help. But you want to see the black that you put on now. The black really needs to stand out to give some form and definition. Another important area here is the centre of the forehead, because we have this centre parting, if you like, of fur that runs down the forehead right down to the nose. So we'll get that in with the black as well. Nice upward strokes if you can do it. A little bit of brushing but not too much. And of course the eyebrows themselves. So round the inside edges of the eyebrows, just cutting back into that yellow, which is now toned down, of course. Above the eyes, just give some shape to the eyelids. And the important shapes of the muscles underneath the eyes. The black helps to define those too. Side of the nose, which has a little bit of shadow on that side, of course. And just to emphasize again the shapes of each section of fur around the cheeks and the side of the face. Not too much on the right hand side, because this is catching more light than the left hand side. And we can bring a little bit of this fur down into the shadow just to show that it's not a flat shadow. Just soften it off. And the final stage to complete the painting and get some real pizzazz with it, some real oomph, is to put some white highlights here and there. So again, we'll start off with the ears, and this one on the left hand side. We'll have some light hairs sprouting from inside the ear on there. A little bit of highlight on the top. Pop some highlighted fur on top of the head where it's catching the sunlight. A little bit of stroking with the finger, but again, not too much. We want this white to not really stand out. Back to the right hand ear. Again, light hairs sprouting from inside. Still using the corners of this hard pastel to give us nice, fine fur lines. And then we'll take our focus into the centre of the face again. So again, the eyebrows, they're quite light at the moment, they're the sort of Naples yellow, but if we stroke a few furry white bits on top of those, then that yellow again starts to fade out, starts to become more subtle and subdued. You'll end up with a creamy white eyebrow. You can scatter a few little white hairs into the fur, gentle rub with the finger, not too much, and then around the eyes. So we've got some little white eyelashes on top of the eyes. These yellow bits can now be lightened up with some nice white to really give it some boost. A little bit of a stronger line, if you like, underneath the eyes. That really gives them prominence. Lighter fur underneath. And then down into the cheek, a similar sort of thing. Stroke a few lines across the yellow, and that'll just bring those areas forward, make them nice and strong. And then we can deal with the muzzle. We've got a little lighter section here just to shape the muzzle, which is predominantly white. Again, just cut that into the yellows, into the reds, into the greys. Notice how it starts now to come forward. The addition of white is very important for bringing elements out of the painting, bringing it forward. And then finally, around the mouth, and a little bit of light on the chin. And then of course, before we finish, we'll pop a few little lighter hairs in the nose as well. The final thing, addition of a couple of whiskers here and there. Keep it sharp, keep it confident, put the whiskers in, and a little flick, and there we are. I hope you can see how relatively easy it is to produce a nice wildlife portrait in pastel using the techniques that I've shown you today. So remember, keep looking at your reference photo, follow the stages that I've outlined for you, and if possible, before you go ahead and do your first wolf, go down to a place like the UK WCT and let a wolf lick your face.
If you have always wanted to paint realistic wild animals in pastel, look no further. Learn how to paint 6 of the world's most stunning wild animals with award-winning wildlife artist Vic Bearcroft. With a whole lesson dedicated to drawing animals, Vic then ventures to renowned conservation projects throughout Britain to capture photographs of his subjects, before returning to the studio to bring the paintings to life. Ideal for all levels, you can now discover how to capture the charisma and beauty of a wolf, cheetah, snow leopard, Amur leopard, tiger and lion. This exclusive pack includes all 7 DVD projects, the 12 pastels, the Hahnemühle velour pastel paper that Vic uses, as well as a free art bin to store all your materials in. Worth over £100, this captivating collection can now be yours for only £49.99, including free post and packing. To order, please call 08458 770 770. Go wild with Vic and learn to paint these extraordinary animals now.